Hey guys, welcome back to the Cross Canyon chassis built. So I got the axles already. I got all the parts for the axles. So now we're going to be putting them on the frame. Like you notice, I did put the drive shafts. I put a center drive shaft like I was mentioning. It is out of the transmission straight to the center. And the two drive shafts are there. And I got my two axles done. Don't know if you noticed, but there is a little notch on these drive shaft, and it's actually on the plastic itself. It's on each side, and there's also a notch there. So on camera it's you can barely notice. Oh, there it is. This notch has to match with the other notch. What that does is exactly where the pivot is and how the pivot is, it matches it with the other one. So when it turns smoother. So let's get going with the Cross Canyon. I've installed the shocks, I've installed everything like it's supposed to be on the instruction manual for the SCX10. So all the links are done. Longer links are on top, shorter links on the bottom. These are the normal links from the SCX10. And now you just got to make sure that those little notches match together. Slide the drive shaft in there. And we can do the lower links. Sorry if I'm blocking your view. Once I have it screwed on, I'll show you exactly where I put them on the chassis. It's pretty easy to where the screws are. I'm doing the lower ones first just because it's easier to install them and to get to the screw, because once you put the top one, it actually gets in the way a little bit, and I did say a little bit, with the other one to get access to the screw. Oh, drop the screw. Why does this always happen when you're live? When you're in rehearsal, it never happens. You don't drop anything. As soon as you go live, you drop things, or things just don't want to line up. Come on, get in there. Now these don't require any Loctite because you are using nylon nuts to go on there. So the bottom links are screwed on. Now I'm going to do the upper links are done. Now I'm going to do the bottom one. It all depends if the truck is flipped or not, but right now it's actually flipped, so the bottom are actually on top and the top are actually on the bottom. Now when you do these from scratch, because basically this kit does not include the screws for the links, you have to supply them, except for the lower links, because it actually holds where the center diff is. And also it holds this center plate. So these 4 screws come with it, but the shorter ones actually don't. So you have to get some. But it's always nice to think ahead and try to get them the same type, in the sense that when you screw these 4 screws, and you don't always swap the screwdriver. Now usually I flip everything over because I'm right-handed, so the screw's way better. But I'll give it a try on this side. The manual to how to install the links and the steps and all that, it's all online at Axial. You can just go there and download it. They're pretty much all the same. So there we go. All installed. Now I'll install the rear shocks. Find the right screws and I'll be okay. I got little spacers for the shock. Those you can find them pretty much anywhere. Any tree or anything from an old kit. If you don't, then they're readily available at the store. Anything's available at the store. You need it, it's there. Maybe I should start speaking in French. Pour toutes les personnes qui comprennent le français, bonjour. I just said for everybody that understands French, hello. So in this case I'm using the rear holes, but you can basically use rear, front, doesn't matter if you use a front or rear, it's all preference of how much angle you want on your shocks or not. So in this case I use the rear one, and in the front I'll use the front ones. Like that the shocks are going to be straighter. There we go, just like that. It's all installed, all nice, and when you actually hit the rocks, nothing hits the axles. Everything's nice and straight. I am going with droop setup on this rig. Right now I have not installed any springs in there, but I will be installing springs on it, so it's actually going to pull it back up when you're going on the trail. That's how I was told to do it. I'm just waiting for the springs to come in. Again, I'll have to take it apart and do it. So now I'll do the front one. So front one already has the panhard. When you install the panhard from GCM Racing, there's a video on the panhard how to actually do it. But you do have to, there's a piece of plastic here. And you have to cut that piece of plastic out to allow for the bracket to actually sit properly for the panhard. There again, make sure you line up those little notches. Now, because of the panhard, I only have one link to put on this side. For the bottom. Or depending how you are, it's a top link. once I flip it over. That link is done. I put the nut a little too tight on there. There we go. The other link. Now I left the nuts on the bottom one here because it's actually holding everything, so I left the nut in there so it wouldn't actually fall off while I was working on it or flipping it around. For some odd reason, these 4 screws are amazingly long. I don't know if there's any reasoning for it, but it takes a while to screw in. There, all 4 are put. That's what I meant by they're long. I'll install the shocks at the front. I should put some music or something on. Then some people won't be listening to me, they'll be listening to the music. Starting to look like a truck. Go. All 4 of them are on there, and because the panhard is not in there and I only got 3 links, it really moves a lot. And again, up front I got the panhard, which is going to be installed here. And because of the way the chassis is built, I can't put that there until I actually put it on the chassis, and then this goes on this side to actually receive the panhard. So now the fun part. Let's mount it onto the frame. see what kind of damage we can do. Okay, here we go. We have all 4 wheels installed. Move a couple things around. Put these back away because we don't need anymore. And this is what it looks like. And like I mentioned, I'm actually running droop, so it actually sits down. But if I were running it with shocks, it would actually stand up a little higher. And then when you hit bumps, you'd get shock. But I want to try this thing on droop. This is so sweet. I know I still have to install the motor, so I will have to take this off the frame again. But one thing I want to show you real quick that I think what I really like about this design, which is really cool, is you take off these 2 screws. And this is an old hood or body from a Blitz. So basically, take off this, and you have access to everything. So you have access to the motor, you have access to everything. And everything is reachable, which is kind of cool.